Hi, I'm Martin Schroeder, and this is my Tell Your Story Draft 1. So the story of my education going forward, it's actually not just the 5 years that I spent here at Boise State. It's about a decade. It started when I was around 16, and that was when I was in my sophomore year of high school that year. I was not a typical student, I suppose. I came from a pretty troubled family and whatnot. I had a lot of issues growing up. I had a learning disability growing up most of my life. So, and that was mainly pertaining to numbers and whatnot. I've actually been doing research on it and going through the VA's resources, and I've been learning that I potentially have dyslexia. So that's a comforting thought that it may not be a learning disability so much as it is a actual problem. Either way, I didn't want to let that stop me. So I chose to continue to pursue education, but on my own terms, because I'm not a typical student. I wanted to learn things I wanted to learn. So when I decided to do that, I decided I was going to join the military straight out of high school, and I was going to go active duty. I joined the United States Marine Corps in the year of 2010. I joined in the delayed entry program at the age of 17, which I signed my contract. I swore in at MEPS that same year. And then a year later, I shipped off to boot camp about 2 weeks after my high school graduation. My GPA from my high school graduation was like 2.2, roughly. I had maybe 8 absences in each class. It was a miracle they even passed me. It's a funny story. But anyways, I shipped off to boot camp. And when I got to boot camp, that began the process of 4 long years, long, grueling years of my life. And when I took the ASVAB, I wasn't really I only passed with the bare minimum to get into the infantry, which was where I wanted to go. Okay. And when I got in the infantry, I just, well, okay, so boot camp, right? We'll come back. So in boot camp, that was kind of the first stage as a challenge. I mean, it's 13 weeks long. You undergo a very hefty transformation, and you become someone else entirely at the end of it. So at the end of boot camp, you go through something called the Crucible, and you get your Eagle Globe and Anchor, and then you become an official Marine. You get some leave, and then you go to your military occupational specialty, your MOS school. But for infantry, that's a little different. So most other MOSs, they go to MCT, Marine Combat Training, and then they go to whatever their job school is for however long. It'll be longer or shorter depending on what your job is, right? Infantry is about 3 months, roughly, a little less. And then once you get done graduating infantry, you go to your unit, okay? And then that's where you're going to spend the remainder of your time in. And whatever your unit is slated to go do, that's what you're going to go do for the entirety of the time you're in active duty. So, achieving these two things was actually a very, it's meant to break people. And, it didn't break me. It was mental strength and endurance that I never knew that I could learn and grow into. I never knew I could be that kind of person. But I did, and there I was in the fleet with 2-1 Fox Company, 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines, in Camp Horno, Camp Pendleton, right? Two different camps. One's inside the other. So, as the time went on and I deployed 3 times, over my active duty time, I underwent hundreds of hours of training and underwent a lot of exercises. And then again, I became a completely different person at the end of it, right? Fast forward to around 2015, that's when I left active duty. And when I left active duty, I had a very harsh, family tragedy, okay? My mom had actually passed away. And I was slated to get out of the military. I was on my last deployment, and I was slated to get out 3 months later. And I came home, said goodbye to her, and then I had to go back and process out. So then once I did that, I had to deal with both the transition out of the military into civilian life, and then I had to deal with the loss of someone very close to me. So after that, I went to Boise State in the summer of 2015. I think August was my first month. And I had the hardest semester, that first one. In that semester, I think I failed most of my classes. Yeah, that was a rough one. I thought that I was going to come through and make it with straight A's just because of what I'd been through. I figured, if I worked hard enough, I was going to get results, but that wasn't the case. My dyslexia and whatnot, took its toll, and I had a hard time reading and a hard time really kind of getting the concepts down quickly. But over time, I stuck at it. There's a saying: if you hang around the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. And so that's what I did. I kept going, I kept pushing, and I kept learning. And then once that happened, after 3 years, I just kind of got used to it. And now here I am, year 4, almost 5, right now. I'm about to graduate, and I switched majors. I don't know, 3 times, I think. Yeah, 3 times, but it didn't matter. I was in my generals most of the times. I was changing majors, so I kind of found out computer sciences wasn't for me. So in the multidisciplinary studies program, I chose leadership in the year of 2018. And leadership, I felt, was something that was really kind of near and dear to my heart because I had been through bad leaders and I had been a leader in the Marine Corps. And I kind of wanted to do that because I didn't really know where my calling was. It wasn't like a technical job that I was looking at. I didn't really want to be a programmer or anything like that. So I decided I wanted to be a leader. Okay. And so my entire multidisciplinary studies track has been designed and oriented around human relations and leadership, which I just finished the certificate for. And then here, that brings us to today. So today I'm looking to graduate with a certificate in leadership and human resources and a bachelor's degree in multidisciplinary studies. And I'm hoping to take that into the workforce and lead with my philosophy, which I call people first. And I hope that it works well. So, yeah, can't wait to revise this later and get back to me. Thank you.